Welcome. Glad everyone chose to come here on 28th of August. Welcome and calling this meeting to order. If everyone would be so kind to stand up, do the pledge of allegiance here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wendy, thank you for sending out the minutes.
One, I move we approve the minutes from the 24 July meeting.
1 second.
Any discussion? So moved. Partnerships and projects, the grant cycle results. Before we address this, I think everyone's aware, you know, we have roughly $205,000 worth of asks. We've got 92 that we have the ability to spend. I think from what was asked, what we have available, I would encourage those recipients to communicate. If that's to do with marketing, please communicate with BMI regarding any type of websites or social media or pictures or anything. Get with Sarah Purcell, get with Andrew. We pump a lot of money into BMI. They're a marketing hub, and please utilize that resource. I'm just going to go through individually, and I'll make a motion to start out with 5 to the 5. I'd like to make a motion to grant them $10,000.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? So moved. And real quick before we go to the chamber next, Dave kind of explained, if you'd be so kind, the process. Like they accepted, or we accept the money that we're going to give.
They just send me an invoice, and I'll fill out the claim form and turn it in to them.
And they can email it to you?
Yep.
Okay. Our second applicant, the Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to make a motion that we grant the Chamber of Commerce $10,000.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Vote on this one.
I know. I messed up the last one.
That's okay.
Check on Robert, his rules of order.
Who was he anyway?
Nobody knows that.
You never do.
No. Let's go to VMI. I'd like to make a motion to grant VMI $25,000.
So you might want to explain
Yeah.
the breakdown on what. I mean, they can spend it on anything, but that was for 3 different projects, right?
So it's for nights and for the trolley and for
Visitor center,
the visitor center.
temporary visitor center.
And it's to receive data for the visitor center, temporary visitor center, the kiosk there, the comfort station, and then to acquire data for the trolley. What were those numbers? I didn't write those down.
11, 3, and
19.
19.
Those
11 for the trolley, 3,400, I think, for the visitor center, and then 19 for nights.
what did
No, I don't know that we need to go in specifics, but
Yeah.
I just to let.
okay.
So the request was 43, 42, 19, 11, 30, 34 was the request, sorry.
33, 380.
So I'd like to make a motion to grant them $25,000.
I second that.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have just some, obviously I wasn't here to see all the presentations, but with some background of the nights. How can we take that event and make it? You know, obviously it's extremely successful with it being sold out the 2 weekends we have it. How do we get it to 3 weekends or 4 weekends? What does it take to do that?
Expand it to 3 and 4 weekends. A lot of it will just be coordination and more volunteers if we wanted to expand the time frame of it, but at this point, we're just trying to use the marketing to outreach beyond where we currently are. So we're going further into Kentucky, Ohio. Was it I can't remember.
So that event typically sells out, right?
Doesn't sell out, but we've made record sales. I wouldn't say sell out, but yeah, we've had record sales in 20.
So how much more capacity could it handle currently? I mean, so how many tickets have you sold typically?
Were we at 4,000 in 2021?
We maxed, I don't wanna say maxed out, but that's our highest at about 4,000 in 21.
It all depends on like the size of the houses that we have and how we can maneuver them through. So we're coming up with different ways to actually get people through the houses faster too. So there's just a lot of transition there to get people in, adding some specialty pieces to it so we can have people coming in like maybe a little bit earlier to make, not enough for those people that want to do like the VIP type experience kind of thing. So, but yeah, just potentially going to add more homes or anything like that. If we want to add it to another weekend, it's just going to take more coordination.
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's whether or not it's a sellout or capacity, there's a whole lot of people trying to go through, you know, those places in 2 weekends. So, I mean, I would love to vote to support it with more funding if we could get additional weekends,
Looking
maybe
for that
different
expansion.
locations. So it's you know, hey, we have these houses this weekend, it's a totally different set this weekend and a totally different set that weekend. Obviously you guys are the ones that know the nuts and bolts of that. I just wonder, how do we take something like that and make it
Definitely
better than what it is?
ideas like that and taking them into meetings and discussing on how we can make that work. But I mean, that's an idea definitely.
So for me, I just had a hard time saying, hey, let's spend more marketing dollars on an event that is, you know, already
At the same-
extremely well attended. And I mean, to me, it would have made more sense to, hey, let's expand it to a few more weekends.
Which is, I mean,
And I don't think we can do that this year. Obviously, I know that that's not possible. Maybe for next year, you know, hey, we're gonna add that 3rd weekend and see what happens.
Well, and
Just my take.
just to build, this is different than a lot of other events in that it's supporting 5 different organizations all at once. And that's a great thing, but also sometimes a hard thing. So you can only get so many people in, let's say, the linear mansion at one time, right? And that will make a backlog. So that's what we think about. When we have 4,000 people, we can't necessarily have all 4,000 at once. That's not gonna make a good event. Everybody's gonna be waiting in line, it'll be cold, it'll be grouchy, then we have to do other things to make that work, right? And last year we worked really well to make that happen, and we're constantly trying to do that. And this money that you're giving us is giving us some marketing help, but it's also giving us the opportunity potentially to try something new, to see if we can get people to stay at least an extra night, and not make the burden on these other organizations like Historic Madison, the Schofield House, Lanier Mansion. The burden isn't all on them. Because Aaron handles volunteers for the private homes. We handle all of our own volunteers for all of those things. And it's not an easy thing. I mean,
Well, I'm sure volunteers are the hardest thing to get anywhere. So what if the funding that we could support helped pay for staffing for that weekend? So you're not
Well-
looking only for volunteers, you have
and
some
that's,
funds to pay a
yeah, that's the
staff.
thing that we can totally look at, but it's never a cut and dry thing. It's definitely just like you guys and your board, we're a team. We sit down together and we try to figure out what works best for the whole team.
Sure.
Because it's a fundraiser for those organizations, and it has to make monetary sense, and
Which,
every partner is there. for
If you could have it more weekends, inevitably you would think you're gonna make more money.
Well, but if you get the opportunity to come any of 3 weekends, you all come the same weekend.
If
And
it's
then
different
that's-
houses all 3 weekends, I would come 3 different weekends.
Well, and that's an option, but it's never as cut and dry as that.
Sure, but I just, that was my reservation when Trevor and I talked today about following up about the meeting that I had missed last week was, I mean, I think it's a great event, obviously, just how do we make it longer, bigger, but that's up to you guys as a committee. Sure, I understand the volunteers and that side of it and all the cookies that are going to it.
Looking at pieces to make people transition through those houses faster is key, because the faster we can move them through, the more people we can bring in to go through this event, because they don't want to wait outside. And we've had some really interesting conversations, and ideas that we've gotten from different areas that I would like to probably implement, not this year, but just some
Sure.
ideas to throw around that, like those types of funding. I mean, getting that marketing reach to bring more people in and to being able to utilize some of those new ideas with still helping use those funds, so.
Yeah, and I think I'd even mentioned in the past about getting some of the more hilltop houses,
Mhm.
you know, just like the downtown, can we get more on the hilltop? So
Curtis, thank you.
just something to think about.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Was there any kind of breakdown among those that the Board of Tourism is specifying among those three requests, or just to say, here's the lump? You guys figure it out, or?
here's the lump, you guys figure it out, and a part of these grant dollars it's your all's responsibility to come back and report back to us. Because if you don't come back and report back to us, any of the applicants, you're probably not gonna gain more money. We wanna know our return on investment, you know, and you reach out to me or you reach out to Victoria, anybody on the board and say, I'd like to be on the agenda, so I can communicate, this is what I did with that capital, this was the best return. Here's the placer data, here's the economic impact calculator, here's the star report, whatever tool is utilized to communicate that back to us. So that reassures us, and you already know this, I'm kind of saying this as a group, Andrew. Like that's vitally important for us to continue to reinvest, right? Like if in the past, we've given money and we're like, hey, go forth and do well, you know? And if nobody comes back and communicates that with us, we're just.
Again, I'll just interject since he asked the question about, is there a priority or where to spend the money? For me, Knights would be third on that list just because of how important I think the additional visitor center possibility could be in the trolley. It's something that we've talked about for many years. So if you were prioritizing them, it would be, those
Sure.
would be 1 and 2 and 3 would be that's just my opinion.
That's a good
But
point.
the way we've presented it, it's really up to them to decide that priority. But
So I made a motion, Dave seconded, we had a discussion, based off the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? So moved. 3 down, 3 to go. I'd like to make a motion for HMI, to grant them $15,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? So moved. I'd like to make a motion for MAAA, also known as MA.
Also known as Madison Area Arts Alliance.
Bingo. $12,000. Any discussion?
have you guys been working much with can't see his face, sorry, with the newly formed Public Arts Commission that the mayor, have you started any work with them or anything on,
We have 2 of our board members that are on that.
that are on that committee? Okay,
Yeah, and been very actively involved in that.
okay, great. Thank you.
Any more discussion? So first and second, all in favor? Any opposed? And last one for this evening, I'd like to make a motion to grant Mad Hop $20,000.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? So moved, motion carries. That was partnerships and projects. Our next grant cycle will be in March of 2024.
And for those, sorry,
No, you go first.
for those, we do have some first time recipients, so, Dave, should they get with you on the process of how to do that? I know there's been a little bit of confusion in the past with
I mean,
the check. They need to get like an invoice to you,
Yeah.
right?
email me an invoice and then I'll make sure I go and get the check.
Get the checks up.
mailed out.
I usually made them stop and pick them up themselves. I didn't mail them. The auditor's
Another
office.
comment though, that I think is appropriate, is some of these projects were projects that were gonna lap into next year. And so some of those projects may have an opportunity to come back at the next grant cycle and say, okay, here's what we did with the first segment. Now we need to talk about money to finish this project up. If it was something that was for a 2-year cycle, and you only got a portion of the money on this cycle.
And also wanted to let everybody know, I've been in the audience before and you're trying to hear something and, hi.
We could cross.
Sure, sure, I think. Come on, you wanna talk?
Is the other door locked or something? Can I get it right?
Okay, I'll get to that one. Yeah, but now we can go over this one.
You've been in the audience.
Oh, yeah, been in audience before, so we. See what that guy wanted to talk about.
You really are.
He wanted to see if he wanted to be paid.
He had any money, I guess. I don't know. Had any money left?
See if we can invest in something. We wanted to put you all up front on the agenda. You know, you don't have to stay, obviously, but I appreciate you all filling out the applications. So we wanted to do that before we carried on with the meeting. So
On behalf of Mom, I certainly appreciate, all of your support for our organization.
thank you. We really believe in you guys.
And on behalf of the chamber, thank you so much. This helps amazingly, and I can't wait to get busy and come back and show you guys what we can do. So, thank you. Huge help.
Same for nice workers, and to appreciate you guys. I mean, obviously, we raise money for the different historic sites, so we appreciate all that you're doing, and I hate to leave, but that's the.
No, I get it. That's why we wanted to put it at the top of the agenda.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
HMI also says thank you very much, but I'll be sticking around. Why not?
I can give you a lot of why nots.
Yeah.
Everyone comes here. Take care, good to see you.
Yeah. How you doing?
All right, Dave, you're up, treasurer.
So for July, we had, for the increase of tax, $71,339.36. A little more than we had last July. When I put in the budget to the county council, I had to kind of estimate what the year would be. Usually in the second half of the year, we have a higher, we have a higher amount than we do in the first half. I mean, I don't know if you want to, I mean, I'm kind of projecting about 718,000 for the year. We had 641,000. That just helped us when I turned in the budget for next year to kind of see how much we're gonna have there, because I mean, while it would be nice to, if you look at the bottom of the auditor's report, there's an amount there to be transferred, or we could if we wanted to, but that would leave nothing for next year, and so we need to.
What'd you say the number was, 718?
Yeah, that's just kind of.
So basically where we're trending the 12%.
Yeah.
Last year, 12%.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's kind of the auditor's sheet there, you can see one's got, doesn't have the second grant cycle included, and then one has it in there, so I don't know if it really matters which one you want to look at, but I figured I'd do both just in case you want to look at numbers, and I like looking at numbers, so. We did have one claim submitted for VMI marketing for $10,654.51. So I don't have a motion to approve that, and
I move to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
So do we need, I mean, you always get on it, Whitney, so we need a special motion for the claim.
Oh,
We used to do that, yeah, where it was all
I
separate
move
with
that we
the,
approve the VMI claim as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I forgot.
Any
about that.
opposed?
You're right.
So moved.
another thing, if, even with the audience, the last, meeting, I had a really hard time, I couldn't hardly hear what Lucy was saying, it was only audio, wasn't the video. So, I don't know if they need to stand up, cause I couldn't, I think she was at the podium, if I
Okay,
remember right,
okay,
the regular last meeting, and I did not hear a word
okay.
that she said. So,
Stand up, love
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
yeah,
Sometimes talk.
well, it's even some in the audience, so I just wanna make sure that we can hear you, I can take notes, but Snapper's good.
So you wanna see how it, yeah?
Stephen Curtis voice.
The boom, the boom. Did you get something?
I did.
I just was curious, yeah.
Moving on, moving on the agenda, VMI update, please, sir.
All right, well, thank you very much. We're excited about, we're excited about, the trolley and comfort station trials and got a lot of work to do in the next few weeks to pull those off and, I'll keep you updated as we go and you'll probably see some more about those, coming out. So, a couple things, obviously you saw the collections, the numbers are looking really good, trending still in a really positive direction for the year. Occupancy report, so I was looking at our star reports, again, some really good numbers, coming through there. We led our comparable counties, in occupancy percent, in ADR and RevPAR. So again, we're doing well compared to some of the other communities we want to look at. Let's see here. It's got backwards on here. Placer data, again, some of the really neat placer data, I think, did I include you in the email I sent to the Alliance, with the placer data? Trying to send that out to the Alliance every month, to give them placer data as well. But for, year-to-date visitors, we are at 3.6 million visits, which is up 2.6% from 2022. And we are at year-to-date unique visitors, 468,000. So last year, if you remember, we were at 589 unique visitors for the year. So doing pretty well. That was at the end of July. And so we're 7 months in and we're 80% of what we were last year. That's looking pretty good as far as unique visitors.
And that is like the circle that goes up to Clifty.
Yes, that includes Clifty,
And,
and it's City of Madison boundary
right.
and
then-
Clifty Falls. I can run a separate one with the entire county
Right.
as well, but I've been using the Madison one just for comparison
Mhm.
and including Clifty.
What number did you say that did not come to Madison? They stayed in Clifton?
So, again, in July, 7,000 people that were at Clifty Falls State Park, but did not come anywhere else into Madison city limits. That seems like a pretty big number.
It's a significant amount of time,
Yes.
2 hours or more.
Yes,
So they had to drive through it to get to it, but like,
Yes.
they
Yeah,
didn't
that's
spend any
interesting.
more
That's
than,
very interesting. Yeah.
right,
yeah.
that's how.
So, I mean, the one reasonable explanation of that, you've got a lot of campers that spend time there and they're driving an RV.
Yeah.
And maybe they just park it for the weekend and they don't move it. They wouldn't want to move it down to the riverfront.
Yeah.
Or to Main Street, if they could. Or you've got a dually truck, that's pulling a camper. They're not going to want to try and parallel park that. So, they're staying up there.
Sounds like a great place to pick people up on the trolley.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've talked about that needs to be one of our first locations to try that trolley route, to say, hey, you want to take a ride downtown and go explore downtown Madison. So we're using these placer numbers to inform our decisions from here. The other thing that we want to include is Hanover College, because we're seeing in placer, whether it's Riverfest, especially Chautauqua, but all of the other events that happen in downtown, there's consistently 2 to 5% of people that are at Hanover College either immediately before coming to the event or immediately after. So whether that's parents, whether it's students, we don't know exactly what that is, but we've got a significant amount of people making that Hanover Madison connection. So again, that's where we're wanting to build that out. So it's an interesting little factoid. And some people, if you're coming to enjoy the great outdoors, you may just want to come enjoy the great outdoors. But I think it's a great opportunity because those 7,000 people, we don't have to attract you. They're here. Let's just get them into some of our stores, our restaurants, our businesses. So that's an interesting note. A few other things, I think I emailed you kind of some recaps on some of this. It's time is a flat circle. And so it's for me to remember what all I've emailed to you. But went to the Paddle Fest in Cincinnati, had a great response for that. It was $125 for a booth there. Brought our own tent, talked to a couple hundred people about what we have to offer in our community, the recreational opportunities. Handed out a bunch of Clifty Falls State Park guides, handed out a bunch of information about Big Oaks National Wildlife Refuge. People were hungry for that information. It's a lot of outdoor enthusiasts. So that was a great investment. We went up to the state fair, had a great opportunity to be in front of thousands of people, thousands of eyeballs saw our booth as they walked by. We even had people wearing Madison shirts after we gave them away, and people were walking around the entire state fair. And I got a chance to get away from the booth, and there they are sporting their Madison, Indiana, America's most beautiful river town shirt. They just won at our booth and they're wearing it around. So walking billboards, it was kind of cool. Also doing some Hanover College connection events. I was out at the freshman experience. They have their activities fair. I went out and represented Visit Madison out there last night, answer questions. They want to know where's the best pizza and where's the best ice cream. And we got to talk about all of our pizza and ice cream opportunities. Because we don't want to be picking a lot of favorites. So, yeah. So we got to tell them a lot about what's in Madison, and got to talk to them about some of their concerns, some of their, why don't they come downtown? Why don't they get out and about in the community? And so had some good conversations. Also got to talk to parents of freshmen who were there for a special event earlier this week. I know Fairfield was there, and it was a very nice event. And so we got to talk to some parents there. So trying to do some more of those to connect with the college and the community. And then I'm excited that the Ohio River Way Summit will be here in Madison on October 25th and 26th. That will be down at the Fairfield. We're really excited about that. It was in Lawrenceburg last year, and had been hoping that we could get them here, and they called me and said, hey, what do you think about having it in Madison? So we'll have people from all up and down the Ohio River communities that are interested in promoting the Ohio River as a recreational trail, kayaking, canoeing, fishing, any of that on the Ohio River. And they're all going to be here. Portsmouth, Ohio, Marietta, Ohio, all those Ohio communities, all the way down to, Sarah, you always help me with this, Kentucky.
Westport, Kentucky.
Westport, Kentucky, all the way down to there. So they will be here at the end of October, and we're trying to make it a great event. So that's all I've got. Do you have questions for me?
I think weren't we gonna host a bass award? Was that last year or this year?
It was last year. We had
So it went fast, huh? I thought it was this year for some reason.
it was the spring tourney and then the classic on October 29th.
Was there award show? It wasn't gonna be an award. I thought it was their.
I don't know, but the guy, Kelly Hook, was not very good at getting back to us. We reached out multiple times, because I even threw that on him.
I mean, it was a pretty small investment for us. I just
It
wondered
was,
what.
yeah, I know.
I thought it was,
that.
I thought it was this fall, not last year.
I remember that because this guy's last name was Hook.
Hook, yeah.
Exactly, right?
And he was made for that job.
I was down there the final day of the tourney, and there were a lot of people there. It was clearly a draw, both fishermen and otherwise, but, yeah, It came and went.
Like I said, I thought it was this year.
That's a good question.
We fielded a few other inquiries about other tournaments. There's one that they want to have this October. They were looking for some grant funding. I sent them the application, told them about this process, and the interest somewhat died there, so. But we're willing to work with them to make any of that happen. And then talking to a bigger organization, Fishers of Men, but they actually are fishing for fish. And so they are wanting to host a tournament here. Yeah, let me clarify that. They are wanting to hold a fishing tournament here next year. So we'll see. We're working, that was a lead we got from Indiana Destination Development Corporation at a big sports convention that they went to. So yeah, and then I guess I need to say here after Sarah gives her marketing report, I will make sure that Don Anderson, our strategic plan consultant, gets a chance to talk to you guys about what his process is going to be over the next few months, because it's really exciting. We aren't just going to throw the SWOT analysis on the wall and say, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna check off the box and say, we got a strategic plan. We're going to invest in this plan and we're going to make it a community plan. It's a destination plan. So that will involve all of you. And Don will talk to you a little bit about that, but I can't tell you how excited I am for that process and for you all to be a part of it. So
When does that happen?
the strategic planning process right now through November. Yes.
Did I miss me?
Tonight
I'm asking, did I miss me?
Oh, no, you've got one tomorrow
at 9.
9, okay.
though. Yes, so we'll let Don talk in a.
It's okay, I missed something that happened last year, so.
9 o'clock.
I said,
What the hell was that?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Hi, how are you? Okay, well, since we've seen you last, we have booked our pro media for the Madison Motor Trail. We start filming this Saturday and next Tuesday, Wednesday. We've secured some local talent as well as some other talent through the agency. So we're excited to keep that needle moving. I'm also working on the website as well as some other materials for that. So that's moving forward. Obviously, we just got off of a big heavy week or 2 weeks ago. God, has it been 2 weeks? With Riverfest. So that was just, it's just always a lot, right? So that's, just had a lot of time on that, but been working on Chautauqua event marketing as well as nights and getting all of those things done. I had mentioned to you last time about the walking tours that our intern had done. Here are the 8, it's a collection of 8 walking tours that are now in our visitor center virtual rec, and they are all, I should have had a picture, all very nice and neat at the top, just all lined up. Matter of fact, one of them is the Madison Trails. We finished it literally the day that he went to Paddle Fest, and we printed off 150 copies and took them to that as well. So that's a new trail that was curated by Andrew's direction, as well as Madison and Movies. And then we have one with Ma, that's the public art and murals. And then we worked with the History Center and Jan Beechers and maybe even a little bit HMI on splitting the Riverfront development one, the Riverfront, not development, the Riverfront walking tour into 3 because it was just too big. We needed to get it west, central, east. So that's what we'll see there. So anyway, those are there and live. We're debating on putting them online, but they're definitely going to be on Pocket sites. So they can have that digital piece. So there's that. And then of course we have all those blogs that we had from our other intern. Those are all being scheduled out and edited, and we're excited about having some of that content calendar filled with all of that. Working on 24 marketing, it comes at a great time with everything that you're gonna hear from Don. But excited about what we're doing for 24 and what that looks like. And we'll be sending out our partner solicitation here in the next couple of weeks for those opportunities. Data, I just wanted to touch base on Google Analytics, GA4. It's a lot different than UA.
Google Analytics UA Universal. It's, you know, everything switched over on July first. And just, it's, we're doing a lot more training and research just to make sure that we're better understanding everything. But the way, what was normally sessions and page views and all of these things that we're very familiar with and have been using and looking at for years is now different. And they're calling them events now. And, you know, the users are different and the default reports that Google provided were over 30 of them, and now it's down to 3, so you have to customize everything. So there's just a lot more work into getting your stats for Google Analytics, and so we're working on that. We're trying to make sure that we're knowledgeable and that we can even help our, you know, of course, we're always helping any business that has questions about that. So that's a continual thing. We don't have, so just a side note on why I don't have numbers here is because when I go into UA, they said that they cut us off on tracking the data, but the UA still has data for July 1st through 31st. And then I go into GA4 and it's different. And so like, I'm just trying to, I don't want to report something that's not right. And so I want to be able to have a grasp on it and be able to confidently tell you guys how Google Analytics is doing. So social media is doing great. Having help is just tremendously making those numbers even better, especially with Instagram. Julia is, you know, getting behind those reels and stories and those things that are just popular and what people love to engage with and using video. And so she's been getting out there in the field and taking video as well as doing part of the Burger Fest and things. So we're just 2 months in, but I'm excited about the organization that we're doing, the content strategy that we're going to be preparing for our marketing plan, but also everything that kind of coincides with this whole big plan. So, email marketing still over 40, it's always running around 47 to 50% open rate, which is really great. The top links on that email were American Kansas, Canada Horsepower, Riverfest, and Music in the Park. This is also the 2024 full page ad that is for the Indiana. I know I could have blown it up, but that's the actual size of that Indiana State Festival Association guide. So as I was telling everybody, it's due in August. And so this is the artwork, and Lucy has done a great job of getting with all of these people and making sure that I have the right dates, reaching out to all of these partners. I've been in contact this past week with Krista Lee at Cannon Fall Festival, working with her one-on-one, getting pictures. We had somebody from the tribe, a news outlet that's Northeast Indiana, close to Chicago, actually wanted pictures about Cannon Fall Festival. So I've been working with her and getting those pictures, and also making sure that we have the right dates, because they moved their dates from the second week in September to the 3rd last year, and then now that next year's leap year and it moves, I just want to make sure. So anyway, working with her on all of that. And probably a boatload of other things. So, any questions?
Do you see an app coming,
So
or how far down the road do you see that coming?
let me give you the back history on that. My predecessor had an app. They developed it, $5,000, had it out there for a year, didn't give it a chance, and said it wasn't performing, so they just deactivated it. So there are people in this town that still have that app on their phone, and they'll give me a call and say, hey, my listing's wrong. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we had one, yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I have to say about that is there's much more research to do, because when you think about an app, everybody's got one, right? You download it and there's almost so much, space on your phone. And so we got to really make sure that is a plan we really want to do, because it's got to bring value for somebody to want to download it and keep it. I remember going to Colonial Williamsburg 5 years ago and was looking for something like that. And there were so many apps to download. I downloaded like 3 of them. And so there's just a lot that needs to go into it, but I appreciate you bringing it up. It's definitely been on my radar. It was on, it's kind of out there. Sometimes it comes up back up again. But having that Pocket Sites app, which I'm gonna be, reviewing that as well. I'm looking into what all other GPS tour apps are out there, making sure that Pocket Sites is the best one for us because it offers that digital, tour view, but with our current site being, mobile optimized and up to par with all of that, since we did that a year and a half ago, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm sorry, I give you this as really long as I should, but hopefully,
No, I just was curious, as
yeah. Yeah,
like you, as I visit somewhere, I try to find that app and download it, use
Yeah.
it, then kind of get rid of it, so I go there again, but
okay.
just was,
Well, and I'm hoping to pick, Don's brain. He's worked with over 300 communities around the nation and international, and I would love to know. where
it
that
just made me
stuff
think of it
goes.
as, I mean, I'm not the big paper guy, I'd like to
Yes,
have that stuff from me, so as those were coming around, it just made me think of
right, and.
the app, so.
Right, and that's why we're definitely getting those on Pocket Sites. And that is when, I'm not gonna try to endorse them, but that's a valuable app to have, because no matter where you go in the world, you pull it up and geolocation pulls up and it brings up every tour that's there in that
Gotcha.
spot, so that would be more valuable. And so I would wanna make sure the right decision was made for that.
You guys are doing a good job of utilizing QR codes.
Yes.
It doesn't require somebody to have to sit and download something, but they can still
Absolutely,
pull it
yeah.
up.
And I love giving the data for those, those kiosks maps on the street, the drink, I tell you guys this every time, it just comes in number one, it's been scanned 450 times since tourist season got, busy, which May, right? And then it came in number 2. Shop moved up to number 3, which last month was stay, and then event calendar was number 4. Our key card inserts, the ones we put into the hotels is kind of like a pilot program, those are performing okay. And then, our experience guide, the event calendar is number 1 at 293 scans for this current, guide. I track everything, I put one in, so, and we're even, wrapping up a promotion with our bulk mailing and our leads that go out. We put an insert in that to do a giveaway for a 2-night stay, and that's been scanned 921 times. We did a survey for all the attendees, that's not QR code driven, but we did a survey for all the attendees for Riverfest, and we're doing that for visitors so yeah, there's a lot of QR code going around, so anyway, data. So thank you.
Thank you, Fish. I do have a question for Andrew, I think mostly, that star report, do you know our RevPAR index?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's probably on there.
So when you look at the RevPAR, it's RGI, it'll be the bottom line on RevPAR. I just be curious, so that's a really good indicator of how we're performing in comparison to the other communities, so. I explained it to Claire the other day, yes. So Claire, yeah.
I listen sometimes.
You should.
Basically shows us, like, are we getting not only our piece of the pie, but are we taking other
Oh,
people's piece of the pie?
That's good to
That's how
know.
we look at it.
Okay. Yeah, RevPAR.
And we know how much you like pie, so,
Yeah.
because you dressed up as well, right?
Yes, thank you. Bringing that up. Yes, I did. I am known for dressing as a Wix sugar cream pie. In the oven.
There you go.
So anyway, yes, I will turn after that derailed conversation. I will let Don talk about the strategic planning process. Like I said, I am very excited about him doing this and doing this for the community. He can go into the details of what it's gonna look like, but it's really exciting.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, board members. Glad to be here. I'm from Temple, Texas. And yes, it's about 107 without a heat index. Earlier today, I had to put my jacket on because it was so cold here. I'm not used to the 70 and 80 degrees. Now I got the jacket off, so I feel real comfortable to be spending some time with you. I think I got about 10 minutes, but I'm a visitor first and foremost. And I've been here for 1 day, but I'm gonna here 2 more days. And I'm staying at a Fairfield that is not a normal Fairfield.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for booking me in there. It's been exciting. And you know, you can have a building, but you're as good as the people. And your staff are well trained.
Thank
So
you.
congratulations to you and making sure that that happens, because that's where the memories come from, not the building. Even though I like that high ceilings. I've never seen such a guest room like that, but I'm certainly enjoying it. So thanks for looking after me in that regard. I'm under contract with VMI. But as Andrew indicated, we want to build a strategic plan for the destination. This is not for VMI. This is for board of directors for VMI. This is for the tourism board here and others within the community that have a direct or indirect interest in bringing more visitors here. And our whole intent is we want them to stay longer. So that means overnight. And thank goodness that we have a new property in town. I gather it's been 2 years, but that must have been a game changer, because I have a feeling people now, well, to be competitive, we've got to make some improvements, right? But I heard your guests in that hotel, and a lot of them were very complimentary, saying that, hey, there's not another hotel that I would want to stay within a 50-mile radius. So obviously people are feeling more comfortable if we give them a reason to come to Madison and Jefferson County, that they're going to be at a place where they know there's a standard. And that's pretty important. Now, I think that's probably going to influence the whole industry itself. But this strategic plan, though, is for the destination. That means I'm here asking for your advice, your input. I may be the facilitator, and yes, you're smart people, you've got ideas and opinions, but I think it's important that we make sure that other than us in this room, that other stakeholders, and we can do through surveys, and I'll get into that more specifically, but also the both boards and the staff have involvement in this, because VMI at the end is your creature in the sense of helping to implement that strategic plan in the long run. Now, this plan, strategic plans, we probably have all gone through different approaches on these. Essentially what we're saying is we want to focus on those things because there's a lot of opportunities here. Not only on the development side, but how we can market and communicate to visitors, and how we should let our residents know what we're doing, because they need to see some gain. In fact, if we don't do that, there's where there's a sort of a broken relationship. Our residents need to see that if visitors are coming to town, what's the benefits to me? So it's one to communicate to visitors, the others we better communicate better to stakeholders, including residents as well. And do we have the means to be able to do this job well and effective? Obviously, having two boards, a great, excellent management team, and others out there that have investments in this industry, we want to be inclusive. We want to hear all these opinions. So I'm going to be a great listener, but at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure, and I think Andrew has sort of used the word, be the devil's advocate, because I've had the privilege of working with 300 destination organizations across this country. I've only lived in Texas for 5 years. I lived 18 years in Brown County, Nashville, Indiana. That's a visitor economy. They're totally dependent. I also have had the opportunity of working in this state with 40 counties and developing their tourism experiences, but also to market it. So obviously I know the Ohio River Valley pretty well, because there's been other few communities that I've worked with. But you have a gem here. I mean, when I came here on Sunday, and by the way, GPS told me I gotta go through Kentucky first, and I did. It's been a while since I've been on those back roads. Very interesting, but it was all of a sudden decompressing. Because you know, you're from a big city and people are getting expectations. So when I came here down the hill, saw the river, the bridge, by the way, it's been a while since I've been here. I was a little concerned about that bridge. It was pretty narrow the last time. It was pretty scary. I said, oh my gosh, it's a new bridge. So I felt a little more comfortable. But you know, when visitors come here, we gotta make it easy for them. So it's one to communicate what we have to offer, but the other is they're gonna make sure that they're gonna be looked after. So as a board, I would want to spend a time with you, and we can look at calendars, but a workshop for a couple of hours. But in advance of that, I'd like to send you a short strategic planning survey to get your thoughts in advance, so we're not just starting from scratch. I'm doing the same with the board of directors for EMI, doing the same thing with the staff. I'll be doing probably at least a half dozen personal interviews, including the mayor of Madison, over the next 2 days. When I come back, and it looks like it's in October, I will be doing more personal interviews. So I want to collect all that information, that also then sort of screen it with what other destinations have done. So it's not a presentation, it's more gonna be asking you questions, what you think. But then I wanna make sure that I'm relating it to some of the other communities that are on large rivers and have some unique downtowns. And by the way, even though probably 80% of the visitors that come here go to your historic district, you have 3 or 4 other places where visitors go. And we're marketing the whole county. So visitors will come back here for different things. So we want to make sure that we're going to be making sure that all those experiences are being looked after as well. Now, in advance of that strategic planning survey, we're also going to send out to stakeholders, and I believe for the contact database with BMI, there's about 200. A thing what we call lead destination, which is going to get more into what about the visitor experience here? What do we need to do to make it richer and have a greater pull for visitors to come here? Also, how do we work together as a team? Talked about a destination team, but we want to make sure that we're handing off the ball in a way that's really effective and that we really are getting the high awareness. Now, it's one to have a high awareness, but at the end of the day though, and I'm glad you're using the language, you're investing dollars. Visitors spend, we don't spend. We invest, we expect a return. And I would hope that the plan that we're developing is going to tie, and it usually does, into the operating, marketing, and business plan for BMI. So they're not separate, but basically you're saying, here's a green light, BMI. Come back to tell us if we can do these things. We know it's going to be good, it's going to elevate, we're going to get more visitors, but ultimately we want you to convert them. And it's all about conversion today, but also making sure that this place is a better place for even residents to live here. So that's a combination. So we're wanting to do this over the next 2 months. Certainly we want to work with you in the sense of timing, what would be appropriate. But I think I'm asking is 2 hours of your time for a workshop. Fill out a couple of simple surveys. They won't be complicated, and most of them are closed-ended. It's going to be rare to have an open-ended where I gotta think now, I gotta break down some stuff, but there might be a few like that. But if I can do that in advance, then it's going to make our discussions a lot easier. If any one of you wanted to have a personal discussion with myself, more than open to do that as well. So I'm here not only as the facilitator, maybe advisor on the strategic plan because of my background, but I'm also an educator. So I'm going to show a lot because there's a lot of communities, how we can fish and how we can get more visitors here. I had the privilege to be on Purdue University faculty of hospitality tourism management, and it was more in the professional development area, working with practitioners. And I've also been a hotel GM, restaurateur, and have had the chance of running a destination organization in the past. So I'll try and bring that background and the experience that I've had over the last 20 years to bear on this project to make sure that we have a plan that we can sign off and approve, but allow your management team, BMI, implement it in support with its partners. So that's where we're at. I'm asking for your support, and hopefully that can happen because you're a very integral part of it. Open the questions. You know, there's a lot of strategic plans up here, but we're forcing it now on paper because this is a strategic plan, not for the organization, it's for the destination, this county. Yes, the city of Madison, but there's other places even outside of this city of Madison that potentially can draw. I was today had a 3-hour tour with Anna.
It didn't invite the go again.
And then
It went on 3 hours.
The big oaks, I mean, went out there, I said, what is this? I never even heard of this one. I mean, down the road, that's got some legs from outdoor recreation. But went over to Hanover College.
It'll be a little
That's a
careful.
whole set of
Yeah.
things.
Won't have any-
And guess what? Hilltop. I mean, we've got a historic, but you got Hilltop, you got hotels up there, you got shopping. And yeah, you got some new shopping coming in. In fact, we heard today they were calling in from Kentucky because they knew you had a new shop. TC Maxx and then Hobby Lobby as well. We're gonna come with a trip over here and stay overnight. We want to shop. So it doesn't take much, but we need to be able to communicate and accommodate that. So let the visitor choose where they want to go in this county. But more importantly, the districts that we want to sort of promote in the communities and what we have to offer, let them decide. Hopefully they'll be coming back again saying, gosh, I'm coming back for another reason. So I'm here just to work with you and put together a plan that is yours. At the end of the day, it's not mine, it's gonna be yours, but we're gonna make sure VMI, and this is the task here, where are we on the strategic plan? If it's gonna be 3 years and it's gonna be rolling, and by the way, you're not gonna get a 50-page report from me. You'll get some support documentation. You're gonna get a 2-page executive summary of a strategic plan that's graphic. You're gonna know where you should be focusing, what you should be doing in the future. And if we've got further means, be able to drive more visitors here, keep them overnight, and then reap those benefits. So I promise you a 2-page. Everybody's smiling because you know what? Now there's no choice. 24 hours before the meeting, I guess I better look at this.
And pictures, that's good.
I know what it's like.
2 pages
Yeah,
of pictures.
and
that's good.
pictures.
And by the way, I mentioned the other board of directors for VMI and to yourself. I know they pay you top dollars by sitting in this chair. I would, you know, years
Must
ago,
have
there
to
used to
pick
be
that
some
check up
hard
too.
cash. Now you can't do that. That's not right. But you know, the latest I've heard is you got psychic pay. You know what psychic pay is? I know you know what it is. Psychic pay.
So like an emotional cookie.
It's an emotional. I feel I'm giving back to the community. And I feel good about it. Isn't that something? That's why you're here tonight. It's almost 7:30. What are you here for? Because we believe tourism is economic development. It's gonna help this community, better quality of place. And these outsiders that are coming here, let's give them a good time, but they're gonna help us too. We know what it is. So I'm looking forward to have that discussion with you and being able to zero in on things that you really feel we should be doing. And I better look at the plan drives the budget. The budget should never drive the plan. If so, then you better go find new money, because I hate to go backwards. It would seem that you do have some means. We just want to make sure that we're gonna invest it in things that really are gonna get what we want. Okay, I think we're in agreement. I'm feeling good. Any comments, thoughts?
When's the survey come out?
We're gonna do that within the next 2 or 3 weeks in October. Oh, sorry, September. We're looking at the
Second.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th of October that I would return.
So take a look at your calendar,
Yeah,
and
see
I'll
if that
be
can
reaching
fit.
out, to see if we can't find a 2-hour time block, and we'd have to make sure we're doing this, you know, with open door in mind and what that looks like, so we'll take a look at that. Our board's gonna try and meet on the 2nd, so, yeah. We'll do some other one-on-one meetings. I know we're wanting to get the commissioners, have some conversations with commissioners too during the next meeting,
Yes.
so.
There you go.
Where in Canada were you born?
You picked up that accent, did you?
It's organization. I mean, it's either that or you're a big
Oh,
hockey fan.
I heard it today too, I was wondering.
So Montreal?
Oh,
No,
I'm
I'm
sure myself, yeah. No, Sault Ste. Marie,
Okay.
up at UP. But I've been in America since 2000. And my wife is American, and the reason why we're in Texas, because she's in the same business. And she developed 2 new destination organizations in Texas. Texas has 125. Like a Visit Madison's, one state, 125. We have around.
Everything's bigger there.
125. They call it hot tax there, hospitality occupancy tax. And again, and I think you're gonna see it, we would like to invest most money on marketing communications. But if you're gonna get into the development side, and it may not be necessarily brick and mortar, but like wayfinding and making it easier for get around for visitors, you're usually seeing a separate sort of an assessment monies for those. They're happening, but we're seeing more development. And it's nice to see that you do have a grant program for events, I guess, and that's something that we'll have that discussion, because that's obviously a main role. To make it easier though, I guess I can be the devil's advocate. Do you have criteria that's been set? Do you have a scorecard? Then it makes life a lot easier, doesn't it? So I'm assuming you probably have that. If not, that may be something you want to do. And that way we're not trying to be objective and fair.
Mhm.
And is it going to drive overnights? That'll be part of it, but if there's other probably good reasons why you would want to invest in it as well, especially if it relates to the brand and the image of the community, and it's been going on for years and it's part of our DNA. Okay. Okay, looking forward to it. We'll keep you posted then, Commander.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The Tourism Alliance, when's the next meeting?
October 12th, I believe.
Yes.
October 12th.
And we did have a fam tour. So we, Historic Madison, John primarily, I was there, but no, I'm no logistic. But John gave a tour to a few of our tourism partners a couple weeks ago, which was awesome. We were so glad to have them in Sullivan House and check things out. And that's another thing the Alliance is continuing to work on. We want to have more like out and about, go learn about your other tourism partners. So that was a really cool thing we got to do. Andrew, of course, took the lead and made that happen. But
We wanna do it more, to
Yeah.
be, we need to
and
know
we
what our
need you
other
guys
sites.
to come
Yeah.
too, because that makes a big difference. So
So October
great.
12th, where?
I don't know that we have determined where yet.
I don't think we did either.
I think we were wanting to have it at the History Center since they had to change the last one, but I'll have to look back at
We'll
it.
just all meet out somewhere in Main Street downtown, October 12th. We'll find each other and be like, hey, let's do this.
Conversation.
Yeah.
Take the trolley and ride around.
We'll do it.
I'll make sure you know about that,
Okay.
when the next location is.
Our,
October 11th, by the way.
11th?
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Our next meeting is September 25th. Anyone else from the audience?
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
You can oppose, we'll see you later.
Yeah.
We're all voted.
We are adjourned.
Ron
Put that in there. Ron opposed.
I